The darkness between stars erupted with fire and death. Commander Vexlar watched the battle from the bridge of his flagship, the Korvax warship Dominator. Thousands of ships filled the void around him, the red hulls of his Korvax fleet, the silver swarms of the Thessian Collective, and the bronze vessels of the Vraxi Empire all traded weapons fire. Energy beams crossed the darkness like angry lightning. Missiles streaked between capital ships. Every few seconds, another vessel exploded into fragments. This war had lasted 30 years, 3 civilizations fighting over the Korvax sector, a region of space rich with rare minerals and habitable worlds. Vexlar had fought in this war since he was young. Now his scales were gray with age, and still the war continued. "Status report," Vexlar demanded, his voice a low growl. "The Thessian hive ships are moving toward our left flank," his tactical officer reported. "The Vraxi are holding their position. Our losses are at 12% and rising." Vexlar's clawed hand gripped his command chair. Today would be different. Today he had brought a secret weapon. Deep in the formation, protected by layers of warships, sat the Oblivion, a planet killer. One shot could turn a world into dust. The Thessian home colony Theta 7 held 4 billion of their insect-like people. One shot, and the Thessians would be broken forever. On another ship, Fleet Master Krishan of the Vraxi Empire stood tall on his bridge. His forearms were crossed over his armored chest. His people valued honor above all else. This battle had become chaos without rules or dignity. "The Korvax are protecting something," his scanner officer announced. "A large vessel in their rear formation." Krishan's eyes narrowed. "Show me." The holographic display revealed the Oblivion. Krishan recognized it immediately. He had heard rumors of such a weapon. His blood ran cold. "They would not dare," he whispered. But he knew they would. This war had destroyed any sense of limits long ago. In the Thessian fleet, the collective mind stirred with concern. Billions of individual Thessians, all connected through quantum neural links, shared one consciousness during battle. They felt the danger approaching. They sensed the weapon that could end their colony world. The collective mind reached a decision. All ships would focus on the Korvax center, trying to break through and destroy the planet killer before it could fire. Vexlar saw the Thessian fleet shift. Their silver ships poured forward in a wave. "They know," he muttered. "All ships, protect the Oblivion at any cost. Prepare to fire the main weapon." The battle intensified. Ships died by the dozens. The void filled with debris and frozen bodies. The Vraxi joined the Thessians, their honor demanding they stop a weapon that would kill billions. The three-way war became a 2-against-1 fight. Vexlar watched his ship count drop. 20% losses, 30%. But the Oblivion was almost ready to fire. Just a few more minutes. Then space itself began to tear. At first, it looked like sensor errors. Reality seemed to ripple and fold. Every ship's scanner screamed warnings. Spatial anomalies appeared directly in the center of the battle zone. Something was coming through. "What is that?" Vexlar demanded. His tactical officer's voice shook. "Unknown, Commander. The readings don't make sense. It's like something is pushing through from another dimension." The anomaly grew larger. A point of absolute darkness appeared, and from it emerged a ship. The vessel was massive, easily 3 times the size of the largest capital ships in the battle. Its hull was dark gray, almost black, covered in angular armor plates. Strange symbols marked its side, characters in a language none of them recognized. The ship moved with impossible grace for something so large, sliding into normal space as if it belonged there. Every weapon in the battle fell silent. 3 civilizations locked in brutal combat for 3 decades all stopped to stare at the intruder. "Identify that ship," Krishan ordered. His scanner officer worked frantically. "No match in any database, Fleet Master. The design is completely unknown. Technology readings are... I don't understand these numbers. They're far beyond anything we have." On the Thessian hive ships, the collective mind searched through centuries of racial memory. Deep in the oldest records, they found something. A story. A legend told by ancient spacers. Tales of a ghost fleet that appeared when wars grew too large. Stories of a mythical warship that could not be destroyed. The collective mind shared this memory with all ships. One name appeared in the old stories. Retribution. Vexlar felt fear for the first time in years. Old spacers in bars had told stories about human ships. But humans were myths, ghost stories. They didn't exist. The mysterious warship began broadcasting. Every ship received the message simultaneously, translated perfectly into each language. Attention all vessels. This is the United Earth Space Navy warship Retribution. You are ordered to withdraw your forces immediately. This conflict ends now. Power down your weapons and prepare to receive diplomatic channels. Silence filled every bridge. Earth, humans? These were legends, stories, not real. Vexlar made a decision. He had come too far to stop now. This is Commander Vexlar of the Korvax Dominion. You have no authority here. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed. The human ship did not respond with words. Instead, it moved. The Retribution accelerated faster than physics should allow. It crossed 10,000 kilometers in seconds. Point defense systems activated along its hull. Thousands of small turrets tracking targets. Then it fired. Energy beams lanced out with perfect precision. In the space of 5 heartbeats, 17 Korvax capital ships went dark. Their engines and weapons disabled, but their hulls intact. Not destroyed, just stopped. Vexlar stared in horror. How? That's impossible. The Retribution broadcast again. This is your only warning. The next strike will target the Oblivion. Choose wisely. For the first time in 30 years, the battle in the Korvax sector was completely silent. Thousands of ships drifted in the darkness, and all of them watched the human warship that had appeared like a myth made real. The legend had arrived. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the UESN Retribution, her dark eyes fixed on the tactical display. Around her, the crew worked with calm efficiency. No one panicked. No one shouted. They had trained for this moment for years. 17 Korvax capital ships disabled, Captain, reported Lieutenant Marcus Chen from the tactical station. His fingers moved across holographic controls, tracking thousands of potential targets. All strikes were non-lethal. Their crews are intact. Good, Elena said. Her voice was steady, carrying the authority of someone who had commanded warships for 15 years. Hold fire. Let them think about their options. At the engineering station, Chief Yuki Tanaka monitored the ship's systems. Quantum drive is stable. Power output at 60%. All weapon systems are green. Point defense grid is active and tracking 2,412 potential threats. Elena allowed herself a small smile. The Retribution was the most advanced warship humanity had ever built. 300 years of technological development, all focused on creating a ship that could enforce peace among species that had never known it. The alien civilizations fighting around them thought they were advanced. They had no idea what real human engineering could achieve. Dr. Okafor, Elena called to the woman at the xenopsychology station. Analysis? Dr. Amara Okafor studied multiple screens showing data on the 3 alien species. She was a tall woman with careful eyes. Someone who had spent decades studying alien cultures from hidden observation posts. The Korvax commander is rattled but angry. His culture values strength and dominance. He won't back down easily. The Vraxi are curious more than afraid. Honor matters to them, and we showed restraint by not killing. The Thessian collective mind is processing multiple scenarios. They're the most likely to negotiate. Elena nodded. She had read all the reports. Earth had been watching this sector for 12 years, ever since their deep space probes detected the war. The United Nations Space Command had a strict policy. Humanity would not conquer other species. But they would not stand by and watch genocide either. Intelligence reports showed that the Korvax planet killer was aimed at Theta 7, a Thessian colony world. 4 billion lives would end in fire if that weapon fired. The Security Council had voted unanimously. Send the Retribution. Stop the weapon. Force peace negotiations. Captain, the Korvax fleet is moving, Chen reported. They're forming a defensive sphere around the planet killer. The Thessian and Vraxi fleets are also repositioning. They're going to work together against us, Elena observed. She had expected this. 3 civilizations that had fought each other for 30 years would unite against the unknown threat. It was basic tactical psychology. Should we withdraw? Asked Commander James Reeves, her executive officer. He stood beside her command chair, a veteran of Earth's last major conflict. No, Elena said firmly. We came here to stop that planet killer. We'll do exactly that. Chen, status on the enemy fleets? Approximately 500 capital ships total, Chen replied. 15,000 smaller craft. They're coordinating their attack patterns. I'm seeing joint communication protocols between all 3 species. They've never done that before. 500 to 1. Not good odds by conventional standards. But the Retribution wasn't a conventional warship. All hands, this is the captain. Elena announced over the ship-wide channel. "We're about to face combined fleet action. Remember your training. We're not here to kill. We're here to stop a genocide and create space for peace. Non-lethal engagement protocols remain in effect. Do your jobs, trust your shipmates, and we'll all go home." Vasquez out. The alien fleets began their approach, slowly at first, testing for reactions, then faster as they coordinated. Missiles launched in waves. Energy weapons charged up, ready to fire. Kinetic projectiles accelerated to incredible speeds. "Here it comes," Chen said quietly. The first wave hit the Retribution's shields in a storm of fire. The entire ship shuddered. Alarms blared briefly before being silenced. Elena watched the shield indicators. They held at 97%. "Return fire," she ordered. "Target engines and weapon systems only. Make every shot count." The Retribution began to dance. Its quantum drive allowed for movement that seemed to break physics. The ship dodged and weaved between incoming fire, its AI-assisted navigation predicting trajectories before enemy gunners even pulled triggers. When it did get hit, adaptive shields analyzed the energy signature and adjusted in milliseconds. The human weapon systems fired with surgical precision. Gauss cannons sent magnetic pulses that fried electronic systems without destroying hulls. Focused laser arrays cut through armor to disable specific ship components. Missile interceptors created a defensive bubble that nothing could penetrate. 53 enemy ships disabled, Chen reported, his voice showing strain as he coordinated defensive and offensive systems simultaneously. No casualties on either side. "They keep coming." Elena watched a Vraxi destroyer making a suicide run at them. Brave but foolish. "Disable it before it reaches us." 3 laser bursts and the Vraxi ship went dark, its momentum carrying it past the Retribution harmlessly. "Captain, we're burning through ammunition faster than projected," Tanaka warned. "At this rate, we'll be at 50% in 20 minutes. Elena made a decision. They needed to change the equation. Chen prepped the gravity beam. "Target the Oblivion." Her executive officer looked at her sharply. "Captain, that's never been used in combat conditions." "Then this is a good test," Elena said calmly. "Execute." The Retribution turned toward the Korvax planet killer. The alien fleet saw the movement and intensified their attack, trying to stop whatever the human ship was planning. Energy beams scorched the Retribution's armor. Kinetic rounds cratered the hull. Shields dropped to 80%, 75%. "Gravity beam ready," Chen announced. "Fire." A strange distortion appeared in space itself. The gravitational weapon reached out across thousands of kilometers and grabbed the Oblivion like a giant invisible hand. The massive planet killer was pulled out of its protective formation, held suspended in a localized gravity well, helpless but intact. Every ship in the battle zone stopped firing. They stared at the impossible sight. The humans had just moved a capital ship across space using gravity itself as a weapon. "Open a channel to all fleet commanders," Elena ordered. "All frequencies." "Channel open, Captain." Elena took a breath and began to speak. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the United Earth Space Navy. We have disabled your planet killer without destroying it. We could have turned it into debris. We chose not to. We are not here to conquer you. We are not your enemy. But we will not allow genocide. Power down your weapons. Prepare to receive diplomatic channels. It's time to talk." The silence that followed was absolute. Then unexpectedly a response came. Not from the Korvax or Thessians, but from the Vraxi. Fleetmaster Krishan's image appeared on the main screen. His forearms were spread in what the database identified as a gesture of respect. "Human Captain, your strength is clear. Your honor is proven by your restraint. The Vraxi Empire request parley. We would hear your words." Elena allowed herself to breathe. First step accomplished. "Permission granted, Fleetmaster. Stand by for holographic conference. It's time to end this war." The holographic conference room aboard the Retribution showed 4 figures standing in a virtual space designed to look neutral and peaceful. Captain Elena Vasquez represented humanity. Fleetmaster Krishan stood tall for the Vraxi Empire, his bronze armor gleaming. The Thessian collective appeared as a single representative body, though Elena knew millions of minds watched through those compound eyes. Commander Vexillar represented the Korvax Dominion, his scales bristling with barely controlled rage. "You have no right to interfere in our affairs." Vexillar began immediately, his voice harsh. "This sector belongs to the Korvax Dominion by right of conquest." "By right of theft, you mean?" the Thessian representative responded. its voice carrying the weight of billions, speaking as one. "You invaded our colonies. You started this war." "Silence, both of you," Krishan interrupted, his four hands raised. "The human captain did not summon us here to listen to the same arguments we have shouted for 30 years. He turned to Elena. "You stopped the planet killer. You speak of ending this war. Explain your authority to make such demands." Elena met each of their eyes in turn. Behind her, Dr. Okafor stood ready with data displays while Commander Reeves monitored the conversation for any signs of deception. "My authority comes from capability," Elena said simply. "We stopped your weapon. We disabled your ships without killing a single crew member. We could destroy all 3 of your fleets if we wished, but that's not why we're here." She gestured, and holographic displays appeared showing Earth and human colonies. "Humanity has been exploring space for 300 years. We've built a civilization across 40 star systems. We've watched your war from the beginning, studying your species, learning your languages and cultures. We stayed hidden because we follow a policy of non-interference." "Then why reveal yourselves now?" the Thessian collective asked. "Because genocide crosses a line we cannot ignore," Elena stated flatly. She brought up images of Theta 7, the Thessian colony world. 4 billion lives. Men, women, children. Your planet killer would have turned them all to ash. We couldn't stand by and watch that happen. Vexlar's claws clicked against his armor. "That colony supports military operations against us. It's a legitimate target." "There is no honor in killing billions of civilians," Krishan said quietly. "Even I, who have fought the Thessians for decades, can see that." He looked at Elena with something like respect. "Your people understand warfare. The way your ship fights shows centuries of tactical development, but you choose restraint. This is the mark of true warriors," Elena nodded. "We've had our share of wars, Fleet Master. We learned their cost. We learned that peace is harder to achieve than victory, but far more valuable." "Pretty words," Vexlar spat, "but this changes nothing. When your ship leaves, the war continues." "That's where you're wrong." Dr. Okafor stepped forward, her fingers moving across a data pad. "Captain, may I?" Elena gestured for her to proceed. Okafor had been studying this war for 5 years. If anyone could break the stalemate, it was her. "We've been monitoring your communications for 12 years, Okafor explained as new displays appeared. "We've tracked supply chains, military production, diplomatic exchanges, and we found something interesting. Something none of you seem to know. The displays showed complex financial data, communication intercepts, and supply records. This war has been artificially prolonged. For the past 15 years, peace negotiations have been sabotaged. Treaties have failed not because of legitimate disagreements, but because someone wanted them to fail." Krishan leaned forward. "Explain." "The Korvax military-industrial complex," Okafor continued, highlighting specific corporations and military leaders. 17 major defense contractors have made fortunes from this war. They've been bribing officials, assassinating peace advocates, and feeding false intelligence to all sides. Commander Vexlar, 6 peace initiatives from your own government were destroyed by your own military leaders who profit from continued conflict." Vexlar's scales went pale. That's a lie." "It's not," Elena said firmly. "We have the proof. Bank records, encrypted communications, video evidence. Your own high command has been manipulating you and your people for profit." She turned to the others. "The Thessians and Vraxi have also been manipulated, though to a lesser degree. Misinformation has been fed to all sides, making peace seem impossible." The Thessian collective was silent for a long moment, millions of minds processing the information. "If this is true," it finally said, "then billions have died for corporate profits." "Exactly," Okafor confirmed. "This war could have ended years ago. Should have ended, but too many people were making too much money from your deaths." Krishan's 4 hands clenched into fists. "Show me this evidence." For the next hour, Dr. Okafor presented detailed proof. Financial trails showing weapons manufacturers bribing peace negotiators to fail, assassinations of moderate political leaders, false flag operations designed to escalate conflicts just as ceasefires seemed possible. The evidence was overwhelming and impossible to deny. Vexlar's expression changed from anger to horror as he saw names he recognized, officers he had trusted, commanders he had served under, all of them profiting while soldiers died. "My own people," he whispered. "My own leaders betrayed us." "Not just your leaders," Elena said gently. "This corruption existed in all 3 of your societies. though the Korvax military had the deepest involvement. The question now is, what will you do about it? The Thessian collective spoke first. We must verify this information with our own intelligence services. But if it proves accurate, those responsible must face justice. Agreed, Krishan said immediately. In Vraxi culture, such dishonor demands immediate action. I will contact the High Council. If this is true, there will be trials. All eyes turned to Vexillar. The Korvax commander looked older suddenly, his scales dull with shock. I need to speak with the civilian government on our homeworld, he said slowly. They need to know what the military has done. I need to know if my government is even aware of these crimes. We can help with that, Elena offered. Our communication systems can bypass military channels and reach your civilian leaders directly. Vexillar nodded slowly. Do it. Over the next several hours, communications flew between the Retribution and the homeworlds of all three species. The evidence was transmitted, verified, and confirmed. The reactions were swift and dramatic. On the Korvax homeworld, the civilian government had been kept deliberately ignorant of the military's actions. When they learned the truth, reformist elements moved quickly. A coup against the military leadership began within hours. Officers loyal to the civilian government arrested the corrupt high command. The Thessian collective purged corrupt elements from their government structure, the hive mind turning against those who had betrayed the greater good. The Vraxi reaction was the most violent. Dishonored military leaders committed ritual suicide rather than face trial. Those who did not were executed by their own subordinates. Aboard the Retribution, Elena watched the reports come in. It's working, Commander Reeves said quietly. They're cleaning house. It's a start, Elena replied. But this is the easy part. Now comes the hard work of actually building peace. On the holographic display, she could see the three fleets. They had powered down their weapons as requested. Ships that had been trying to kill each other hours ago now drifted in an uneasy truce. Captain, Chen called from Tactical. Sensors are detecting movement from the Korvax splinter fleet. Admiral Drekvar's group. They're not following the ceasefire order. Elena's jaw tightened. How many ships? 47 capital ships and escorts. They're breaking formation and heading directly for us. Let me guess, Elena said. Hardline military loyalists who don't want peace because it ends their power. That would be my assessment, Captain, Dr. Okafor confirmed. Elena looked at the approaching ships on her display. Some people would always choose war over peace, power over honor. The hard part of making peace was dealing with those who refused it. All hands, battle stations, Elena ordered. It seems we have more work to do. Admiral Drekvar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Unyielding, surrounded by 47 warships crewed by true believers. They were Korvax who understood that peace was weakness, that military strength was the only thing that mattered in the galaxy. The humans think they can dictate terms to us, Drekvar announced to his crew. They think their one ship makes them gods. Today we teach them that the Korvax dominion bows to no one. His fleet accelerated toward the Retribution. Every weapon was armed. Every torpedo was loaded. This would be a suicide attack, but it would be glorious. They would either destroy the human ship or die trying. On the Retribution, alarms sounded throughout the hull. Captain Elena Vasquez studied the tactical display as Chen fed her information. 47 ships incoming at maximum speed. They're not slowing down. Energy signatures indicate all weapons are hot. Captain, these ships are preparing for a ramming attack if necessary. Elena's mind raced through options. They could destroy all 47 ships easily. The Retribution had proven its superiority already. But killing thousands of Korvax would destroy everything they had worked for. The fragile peace would shatter. Communications, hail Admiral Drekvar, Elena ordered. Channel open, Captain. Drekvar's face appeared on screen, his scales dark with rage. Human, you have interfered in matters beyond your understanding. You have weakened my people with your talk of peace. We reject your authority. We will show the galaxy that humans can bleed and die like anyone else. Admiral, you're making a mistake, Elena said calmly. Your own government has ordered a ceasefire. The evidence of corruption has been confirmed. Stand down. Never, Drekvar snarled. The strong survive. The weak perish. That is the only law that matters. Your ship may be powerful, but you are still just one vessel. We are 47. Some of us will reach you. Some of us will make you burn. The channel went dead. Elena looked at her crew. Every face was tense but ready. They trusted her to make the right choice. We hold position, Elena announced. We came here to stop genocide and enforce peace. Running now would tell every extremist in this sector that humans can be intimidated. We stay, we fight. Non-lethal protocols remain in effect as long as possible. Captain, with respect, they're planning to ram us, Commander Reeves pointed out. Non-lethal might not be an option. Then we'll make it an option, Elena said firmly. Jen, target their engines first. Propulsion systems only. I want those ships dead in space, not dead in truth. The extremist fleet opened fire at maximum range. Missiles streaked across space. Energy beams lanced toward the Retribution. The human warship's point defense systems activated, intercepting most of the incoming fire. What got through hammered against shields already weakened from the earlier battle. Shields at 68%, Tanaka called out. Hull integrity holding. Quantum drive is showing stress. We took damage earlier that hasn't been fully repaired. Return fire, Elena ordered. Precision targeting. Make every shot count. The Retribution began its deadly dance again. Gauss cannons fired in perfectly timed sequences. Each shot aimed at engine systems. Lasers cut through armor plating to disable propulsion without destroying the ships completely. 3 extremist vessels went dark immediately. Then 5 more. Then 8. But there were too many, and they were coming too fast. Some got through the defensive fire. Energy weapons struck the Retribution's weakened shields. The ship shuddered under the impacts. Shield failure in sections 4 through 7, Tanaka reported, her voice strained. Hull breaches on decks 12 and 15. Emergency bulkheads are sealing. Casualty reports coming in. Elena gripped her command chair as the ship rocked from another impact. Medical teams to affected areas. Damage control, I need those shields back up. Working on it, Captain, Tanaka responded. But we need time. Time was something they didn't have. The extremist ships pressed their attack with suicidal determination. One Korvax destroyer, its engines destroyed but momentum still carrying it forward, crashed into the Retribution's port side. The collision tore through armor and hull, breaching 3 more decks. Alarms screamed throughout the ship. Elena watched the casualty count rise on her display. 15 dead, 23, 31, the numbers kept climbing. Captain, we need to withdraw, Reeves urged. We can retreat, repair, and come back with support. Elena wanted to agree. Every instinct told her to protect her ship and crew. But she thought about what withdrawal would mean. The extremists would claim victory. The moderate leaders who were trying to build peace would lose credibility. The fragile ceasefire would collapse, and 4 billion Thessians would still be at risk from other planet killers. We hold, Elena said through gritted teeth. If we run, everything we've accomplished dies with our retreat. We stay. We make this stand matter. Her crew responded with immediate action, no arguments or hesitation. They trusted her judgment even when it asked them to risk their lives. All remaining weapons, focus fire, Elena ordered. I want those ships stopped now. The Retribution unleashed everything it had. Missiles, Gauss cannons, lasers, particle beams. The space around them became a storm of fire. Extremist ships died in flames, their crews choosing destruction rather than surrender. But some still kept coming. On the bridge of the unyielding, Admiral Drekvar watched his fleet being systematically destroyed. 30 ships gone, 35, 40. But he was still alive and his ship was still moving. If he could just reach the human vessel, if he could ram them or board them, he could still win. Then something unexpected happened. A massive Vraxi battleship moved between the Retribution and the unyielding. Then another, and another. Fleetmaster Krishan's personal fleet positioned themselves as shields, protecting the damaged human ship. Krishan's voice boomed across open channels. Admiral Drekvar, you face not just the humans now, but the honor of the Vraxi Empire. These humans fight for peace, not conquest. They showed restraint when they could have shown destruction. They saved billions of Thessian lives. They have earned the protection of our guns and the respect of our warriors. Stand down or face us all. Thessian ships joined the Vraxi, creating a wall of alien vessels protecting the human warship. Former enemies now standing together, Drekvar stared in disbelief. His own kind had abandoned him. The other species, his enemies for 30 years, defended the humans. He had thought himself strong. Instead, he found himself alone. All ships retreat, he ordered quietly. Fall back to the neutral zone. The remaining extremist vessels turned away, their attack broken not by human weapons but by the unity they had tried to prevent. On the Retribution, Elena slumped in her command chair, exhaustion finally catching up with her. Casualty report, 47 dead, Reeves said softly. 82 wounded. 16 critical. Sections of the ship are exposed to vacuum. The quantum drive is offline. We're not going anywhere for a while. Elena closed her eyes briefly. 47 people. 47 families who would receive letters saying their loved ones died and forcing peace on the other side of the galaxy. The cost of doing the right thing was never free, Captain, Chen said gently. You should see this. On the display, salvage and rescue operations had begun. But it wasn't human ships doing the salvaging. Vraxi, Thessian, and loyal Korvax vessels were carefully extracting human crew members from damaged sections of the Retribution. Medical ships from all three species were offering assistance. Former enemies working together to save human lives. They're helping us, Reeves said in wonder. Elena watched a Vraxi rescue team pull 2 human engineers from a collapsed section, treating them with careful respect. A Thessian medical ship docked with the Retribution, offering their advanced healing technology. Korvax engineers transmitted detailed repair schematics, showing the humans how to patch their damaged systems using alien technology. They see us bleed, Elena said quietly. They see us die for principles we believe in. Maybe that matters more than showing them we can't be killed. A communication request came in from Krishan. Elena accepted it, and the fleet master's face appeared on screen. Captain Vasquez, Krishan said with deep respect. You stayed when you could have fled. You held your ground when wisdom might have suggested retreat. Your warriors died protecting those who cannot protect themselves. This is the highest honor in Vraxi culture. We stand with you. Not as subjects to a conqueror, but as allies to warriors we respect. Elena felt something tight in her chest loosen slightly. Thank you, Fleet Master. We couldn't have held without your help. You should not have needed to hold at all, Krishan replied. Those extremists will face justice. But today you have shown us what humans are. You are warriors, but you are also builders of peace. Both qualities together make you unique. The communication ended. Elena looked at her damaged ship, her wounded crew, and the alien vessels surrounding them in protection rather than threat. The cost had been high, but maybe, just maybe, it had been worth it. 3 months later, the Korvax sector looked very different. Where warships once fought and died, construction vessels now worked together building neutral space stations. Korvax engineers worked alongside Thessian technicians and Vraxi laborers. Former enemies shared meals, exchanged jokes, and slowly learned to trust each other. The transformation was not perfect or complete, but it was real. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the observation deck of Reconciliation Station, watching the construction. The station floated at the exact center of the disputed zone, built equally from technology and resources provided by all three species. It would serve as the first permanent neutral ground, a place where disputes could be resolved with words instead of weapons. The Retribution hung in space nearby, fully repaired now. The damaged sections had been rebuilt, the quantum drive restored, and the crew back to full strength. But the ship bore scars on its hull where alien metal had been used to patch holes. Vraxi alloys, Thessian composite materials, Korvax structural supports. The human warship carried pieces of the 3 civilizations it had come to save. Beautiful sight, isn't it? Commander Reeves joined her at the viewing port. 3 months ago they wanted to kill each other. Now they're building together. Don't romanticize it too much, Elena cautioned. There are still incidents. Last week, a Korvax and Thessian got into a fight on Platform 7. Old hatreds don't vanish overnight. This is going to take generations. But it's a start, Reeves insisted. That's more than anyone thought possible. A chime indicated an incoming communication. Elena moved to a nearby console and accepted it. The face of Ambassador Maria Torres appeared, transmitting from Earth with only a slight delay. Captain Vasquez. Ambassador Torres smiled warmly. I wanted to inform you personally. The United Nations Security Council has approved the Galactic Cooperation Council proposal. I'll be arriving in the sector next week with a diplomatic mission and support fleet. Elena felt relief wash through her. That's excellent news, Ambassador. The local leaders are ready for formal negotiations. How are they doing? Torres asked. The reports I've read are encouraging, but I want to hear it from someone on the ground. Elena considered her answer carefully. They're trying. Commander Vexler, who was ready to commit genocide 3 months ago, now sits on the Joint Security Committee. He's working to prevent the kind of corruption that led to this war. Fleetmaster Krishan has become the strongest advocate for the peace process. The Thessian Collective has opened cultural exchanges with both species. And the extremists? Torres pressed. Still out there, Elena admitted. Admiral Drekvar and his followers retreated to the outer systems. They're not actively attacking, but they're also not accepting the ceasefire. There are similar groups among the Thessians and Vraxi. Maybe 10% of each population still wants the war to continue. 10% is better than 100%, Torres observed. We'll work with what we have. The diplomatic team is prepared to spend years on this if necessary. After the communication ended, Elena returned to the observation deck. A small craft was approaching the Retribution, requesting permission to dock. She recognized the signatures. The 3 faction leaders were coming for their weekly meeting aboard the human ship. 30 minutes later, Elena met them in the conference room. Vexlar looked healthier than before, his scales brighter. The reformation of the Korvax government seemed to agree with him. Krishan stood proud, his forearms bearing new ceremonial armor marking him as an ambassador of peace. The Thessian representative flickered slightly, the collective mind adjusting to new communication protocols. Captain Vasquez. Vexlar began, using the formal greeting they had established. We have news from our homeworlds. All 3 governments have ratified the preliminary treaty. War crime tribunals have begun. Reconstruction aid is being distributed to damaged worlds. That's significant progress, Elena acknowledged. Ambassador Torres will arrive next week to begin formal negotiations for the permanent treaty. We are ready, the Thessian Collective said. But we have questions. About humanity, about Earth. You revealed yourselves to stop our war. But what are your intentions beyond that? Will you seek to control us? To colonize our worlds? We must know what we are truly agreeing to. It was a fair question. Elena had expected it eventually. She gestured to Dr. Okafor, who brought up a star map showing human space and the surrounding regions. Humanity controls 40 star systems, Elena explained. We've been spacefaring for 300 years, but we've expanded slowly and carefully. We encountered other species before yours. Some were primitive, still developing. We observed them but never interfered, following what we call the non-interference principle. Yet you interfered with us, Krishan pointed out. Because genocide crosses a line we cannot ignore, Elena replied. We'll watch a civilization develop naturally. We'll observe their wars and their peace, their triumphs and failures. But we won't stand by and watch billions die when we have the power to prevent it. That's the balance we try to maintain. And what do you want from us now? Vexlar asked directly. Nothing in the galaxy is free. What is the price for your help? Elena met his eyes. Peace, that's all. We want this sector stable and safe. We want the 3 of your civilizations to stop killing each other and start building something better together. We're proposing a Galactic Cooperation Council, a forum where disputes can be resolved through arbitration and negotiation instead of warfare. And if we refuse? The Thessian Collective asked. Then we leave, Elena said simply. We'll withdraw to our own space, but we'll keep watching. And if another genocide is attempted, we'll return. That's the only condition we're absolutely firm on. No more planet killers, no more mass civilian casualties. Beyond that, you're free to govern yourselves however you wish. The 3 leaders looked at each other, communicating in ways Elena couldn't quite follow. Finally, Krishan spoke for all of them. We accept these terms. But I must ask, Captain, why does humanity do this? You could easily conquer us. Your technology is far superior. You could take our worlds, enslave our people, exploit our resources. Why choose the harder path of peace? Elena smiled slightly. Because we've been where you are. Humanity's history is full of wars. We've fought over resources, religions, ideologies, territory. We've committed genocides of our own. We've learned slowly and painfully that conquest is temporary, but cooperation can last generations. We choose peace because we know the alternative too well. She brought up images of Earth, showing cities and farmlands, oceans and forests. This is our homeworld. 3 centuries ago, it nearly destroyed itself in nuclear war. We survived by learning to work together, to see our similarities instead of our differences. It took time. It took sacrifice. But we built something better. And you want to help us build the same, Vexlar said thoughtfully. We want to give you the chance, Elena corrected. What you build is up to you, We're just trying to stop the destruction so you have time to figure it out. Movement outside the viewport caught their attention. A fleet was arriving, dropping out of quantum drive in precise formation. 20 human warships smaller than the Retribution but just as advanced. Among them were diplomatic vessels, supply ships, and what looked like mobile space stations. The support fleet, Reeves announced from the doorway. Ambassador Torres is aboard the lead ship. Elena stood, the 3 alien leaders rising with her. Then it's time to begin the real work. The war is over. Now comes the harder part, building a peace that lasts. They moved to the docking bay to greet the arriving ambassador. As they walked, Elena caught Krishan looking at her thoughtfully. "You seem concerned, Fleet Master," she observed. "I am thinking about the future," Krishan replied. "You showed us images of space beyond our sector. You said there are other civilizations out there, some more aggressive than us." "That's true," Elena confirmed. "Our deep space telescopes have detected evidence of dozens of other species. Some are peaceful, some are not. Some are far more powerful than any of us." "Then why did you reveal yourselves now?" the Thessian collective asked. "If you stayed hidden, you would have maintained your advantage." Elena paused at the docking bay entrance, looking back at the 3 leaders. "Because when those more powerful civilizations arrive, and they will eventually, I'd rather face them alongside allies than watch potential friends destroy each other first. Unity is strength. Division is vulnerability. We're giving you the chance to be strong through cooperation before you face threats that will require it." Vexillar's eyes widened. "You're preparing us for what's coming." "We're preparing together," Elena corrected. "Humanity can't face the galaxy alone any more than the 3 of you can. We need each other. That's the truth of the universe. We're all stronger together than apart." The docking bay doors opened and Ambassador Torres stepped through, her diplomatic team behind her. She approached with a warm smile and extended hands, ready to begin the long process of turning a fragile ceasefire into a lasting peace. As Elena performed the introductions, she thought about the Retribution's mission. They had come to stop a genocide. They had succeeded. But more than that, they had planted the seeds of something larger, an alliance. A cooperation that might one day span the galaxy. The warship that had arrived like a myth would soon depart, returning to Earth to report and refit. But the work would continue. Humanity had stepped out of the shadows and into the light. The galaxy would never be the same. 6 months later, the Galactic Cooperation Council held its first official session. The temporary station had been expanded into a massive structure, home to thousands of diplomats, observers, and support staff from multiple species. Treaties were signed. Trade agreements were established. Cultural exchanges began. In orbit nearby, the Retribution prepared for departure. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on her bridge one final time before leaving the sector. The crew was ready. The ship was ready. Their mission here was complete. "Ready to go home, Captain?" Reeves asked. Elena looked at the station one last time, at the ships from 3 different civilizations docking peacefully together. "Yes, but we'll be back. This is just the beginning." The Retribution activated its quantum drive, folding space around itself. To the aliens watching, the human warship seemed to fade away like a ghost, becoming legend once more. But this time, the legend had a truth behind it. And that truth had changed everything. Deep in Earth's military command center, Admiral Richardson watched the Retribution's mission report on holographic displays. Around him, other screens showed potential conflicts across known space. 37 regions where wars threatened to spiral out of control. 12 situations where genocides might occur. Hundreds of developing civilizations that would need guidance and protection in the years to come. He marked the Korvax sector mission as success, long-term monitoring required, and turned his attention to the next crisis. Behind him, through the massive windows of the command center, he could see the orbital construction yards. Dozens of ships like the Retribution were being built. New classes of warships designed for peacekeeping rather than conquest. Humanity's quiet preparation for its role in the galaxy had only just begun. The legends would multiply, the myths would spread, and when civilizations faced their darkest moments, when genocide loomed and war threatened to consume billions, they would learn that the stories were true, the warships were real, and they would come when needed, bringing not conquest but the chance for peace. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy. Not dominance, but hope. Not empire, but alliance. Not control, but cooperation. The age of human isolation had ended. The age of galactic cooperation had begun, and somewhere in the depths of space, the Retribution sailed toward its next mission, ready to enforce peace wherever it was needed most.